Welcome to another deep dive, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about those sneaky little habits that might be making us feel lazy.
Oh, sneaky.
Right. So we've got this podcast episode. We're using a source material that lists 10 common culprits.
10.
Yeah. But, instead of making this a guilt trip,
Yeah.
we're going to explore it with curiosity.
I like that.
Like, how do these habits actually work?
Right.
Why are they so common? And what are some things we can actually do about it?
Okay. I'm in.
Have you ever noticed yourself doing any of these?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely.
Let's just jump right in.
Okay.
With a habit that's basically universal,
Okay.
hitting the snooze button.
Oh, yeah.
You know that feeling? Like those few extra minutes
Oh,
of precious sleep?
Totally.
We all do it, but here's the thing.
What?
Our source material pointed out
Yeah.
that every time we hit snooze,
Okay.
we're not just delaying the inevitable. We are actually training our brains
Oh.
to choose immediate comfort
Okay.
over long-term goals.
Whoa.
Is that kind of like breaking promises to yourself?
Ooh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Right.
Think about it this way. You set an alarm with a specific intention,
Yeah.
right? To get up at a certain time.
Right.
But when you hit snooze, you're basically telling yourself,
Yeah.
maybe not right now.
Right.
And so it erodes that self-trust.
Yeah.
Like you can't even trust yourself to follow through on something simple.
You're saying one thing and doing another.
Exactly.
Even if it's just to yourself.
Exactly. And that can affect your whole day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you can't trust yourself to do small things, how are you going to do the big things?
Ooh, that's deep.
Right?
How do we break that cycle?
Well, you could just throw your alarm clock across the room.
I've tried that.
But really, it's about shifting your mindset.
Okay.
The source material said to think about the person you want to be,
Yeah.
like someone disciplined and motivated,
Uh-huh.
and then start acting like that person.
Okay.
Starting with getting up when your alarm goes off.
You know what? No more snooze button.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on
Okay.
to a habit that is tied to how we start the day,
Okay.
skipping breakfast.
Ugh,
So we all know it's important,
it is.
but is it really that big of a deal?
Well, this is where understanding our bodies is important.
Okay.
When you skip breakfast, you're basically running on empty.
Yeah.
And your blood sugar crashes, your energy dips, and your brain just doesn't work as well.
That makes sense. But I've heard some people say they feel more alert when they skip breakfast. Like, is there any truth to that?
Maybe for some people,
Okay.
but generally speaking, your body needs fuel to function.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that fuel comes from food.
So it's not just about avoiding being hangry.
No, it's much more than that.
Okay.
This source material really highlighted
Yeah.
how stable blood sugar is so important for focus, concentration, and decision making.
So skipping breakfast basically sets you up for a less productive day.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like trying to run a marathon with no training or nutrition.
Okay. Point taken. I'm never skipping breakfast again.
Good.
Now this next one. This one's personal.
Oh boy.
The constant pull of social media.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like 5 minutes turns into an hour.
All the time.
Right.
It's designed to be that way.
What do you mean?
Social media is engineered to keep you hooked.
Seriously?
Yeah, they use algorithms and psychological tricks to keep you scrolling.
I mean, I've heard about these algorithms, but it all sounds kind of like a conspiracy theory.
It's not really a conspiracy, it's just business.
What do you mean?
These companies make money from your attention,
Oh, okay.
and they've become really good at exploiting how our brains work.
So it's not just a lack of willpower.
Willpower's part of it,
Okay.
but you're basically going up against a giant machine.
Wow.
Yeah, they literally have teams of psychologists and engineers working on this.
Okay, that is kind of scary.
It is.
So what can we do about it?
Well, the first step is awareness.
Okay.
So realize that these platforms are designed to be addictive, and it's not your fault for getting sucked in.
Okay, good to know.
The source material had a few tips,
Okay, like what?
like setting time limits for apps,
Okay.
using website blockers,
Yeah,
or even just putting your phone in a different room.
I like that one.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to a habit that is related to social media,
Okay.
binge watching.
Oh, yeah.
Who hasn't lost a whole weekend to a TV show?
It's the best way to escape.
Right.
But the thing is, we need entertainment and relaxation.
Yeah.
But too much of anything is bad.
Right. But why is binge watching specifically a problem? Like, isn't it just a form of leisure, like reading or going for a walk?
The difference is that binge watching is passive.
What do you mean?
Like you're just absorbing information. You're not really using your mind or body.
So it's not just the time we lose.
Right.
It's also about our mental and physical state.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it gets worse when you use binge watching to avoid dealing with stuff.
Like stress or boredom or
Yeah.
uncomfortable emotions.
Exactly. So you're not facing your problem.
You're just numbing yourself
Yes.
with endless episodes of whatever.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
The source material really emphasized
Yeah.
being aware of why we're binge watching.
Okay.
Like, are we really relaxing or are we running from something?
Okay. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on to a habit that's like at the top of every New Year's resolution list.
What's that?
Avoiding exercise.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all know we should be exercising,
Yeah.
but getting ourselves to do it is a whole other thing.
So true.
Why is that?
I think people just approach it with dread.
Yeah.
Like it's a chore.
Yeah,
Something they have to do, not something they want to do.
that's so true.
Right.
I'm totally guilty of that.
But,
Yeah,
once you start, you always feel better.
that is true.
Right.
So how do we bridge that gap?
You have to find something you enjoy.
Okay,
It doesn't have to be the gym or running.
right.
It could be dancing, hiking, swimming, or even just a walk in the park.
So find something that feels good and fits your life,
Exactly.
not something you hate.
Yeah. And remember, it's not about punishing yourself
Right.
or trying to look a certain way.
Okay.
It's about moving your body, getting your blood flowing, and releasing endorphins.
Okay, that's a much better way to think about it.
Right.
Now, this next habit we might not think of as lazy,
Okay.
but it can really affect our energy.
What is it?
Overindulging in junk food.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the connection there?
It all comes down to how our bodies process food.
Okay.
Junk food has lots of sugar and unhealthy fat,
Yeah.
which sends your blood sugar on a roller coaster.
Okay, so I get the blood sugar spike,
Uh-huh.
but then what happens?
It's like a sugar rush, followed by a crash.
Oh.
And that crash leaves you feeling drained, foggy, and wanting more junk food.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's the opposite of what you need to feel energized and motivated.
Yeah, you're just perpetuating the
Yeah.
cycle of low energy.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
The source material made this point,
Yeah.
that unhealthy eating can contribute to feeling lazy and apathetic over time.
So we're not just what we eat,
Right.
we're also how we feel based on what we eat.
That's it. Our food choices affect our mood, energy, and even how clearly we think.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about a habit that's the ultimate productivity killer.
Oh,
Procrastination.
Oh, yeah.
Why do we do it even when we know it's going to stress us out later?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
It's often less about laziness and more about fear.
What kind of fear?
Fear of failure,
Okay.
fear of judgment, or even just fear of the task itself.
So it's a way of protecting ourselves from negative emotions.
Exactly.
Right.
By delaying the task, you're delaying the discomfort.
But then you just end up with more discomfort later.
Exactly. You can run, but you can't hide.
Right.
You eventually have to face it. The source recommended a few things for overcoming procrastination.
Like what?
One was to break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
A big project can feel overwhelming.
It can.
But if you break it down into little pieces,
Yeah.
it feels more doable.
Exactly. And there's a psychological benefit too.
What's that?
Each little win, each task you check off
Yeah.
gives you a feeling of accomplishment.
Right.
And that motivates you to do more.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Okay, now this next one might seem counterintuitive.
What?
Sleeping too much.
What?
Yeah, I thought getting enough sleep was always good.
It is.
Right.
But like anything else, you can have too much.
Really?
The source said that consistently sleeping more than 9 hours
Yeah.
can actually make you feel more tired.
Wow. I would think more sleep would equal more energy.
It's about finding the right amount for you.
Okay.
7 to 9 hours is good for most adults.
Okay.
But oversleeping can disrupt your sleep-wake cycle.
So it messes up your body clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And this goes back to what we talked about with our circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
When you oversleep, you're throwing off that rhythm.
Okay.
And that affects your energy, your hormones, and even your mood.
So if you're sleeping more than 9 hours and still feeling tired,
Yeah,
you might need to change your sleep habits.
absolutely. The source said to set a regular sleep schedule,
Okay.
even on weekends,
Uh-huh.
and make sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool.
Okay. All great tips.
Right?
Now let's talk about a habit that's often overlooked,
Okay.
but can really affect our motivation.
What's that?
Not setting goals.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just drift through life
Right.
without any real direction.
Yeah, it's like sailing without a compass.
Right.
You might end up somewhere,
Yeah,
but probably not where you wanted to go.
exactly. So how do goals help us overcome laziness and be more productive?
Goals give you clarity, focus, and a sense of purpose.
Okay.
And when you have a goal in mind, your brain naturally starts looking for ways to achieve it.
So it's like a roadmap for your actions.
Exactly.
Okay.
And having goals makes it easier to prioritize.
Right, because you know what you're working towards.
Exactly.
Right.
This source material talked about SMART goals.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of
The
those.
specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
So instead of saying, I want to be more productive,
Right?
you'd say, I'm going to finish that report by Friday.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
And if you break down that big goal into smaller tasks,
Yeah.
it becomes even easier.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now on to our last habit,
Okay, what is it?
constantly complaining.
Ooh, yeah,
I think we all know those people
Uh-huh.
who always have something to complain about.
they do.
How does complaining make you feel lazy, though?
Complaining traps you in negativity.
Okay.
It drains your energy, makes you feel bad, and makes you feel helpless.
So if you're focused on what's wrong, you don't have energy to think about solutions.
Exactly. And the more you complain, the more your brain gets wired for negativity.
It's like digging yourself a deeper hole.
Exactly.
So how do we stop complaining?
You got to shift your mindset.
Oh, okay.
Instead of focusing on what's wrong,
Yeah,
ask yourself, what can I do to make this better?
I like that.
Right.
It's about being proactive.
Exactly. And it's okay to acknowledge challenges,
Yeah.
but dwelling on them doesn't help.
Right.
You got to channel that energy into finding solutions.
Okay, so we've talked about all 10 habits from our source material.
Wow.
What are your takeaways so far?
What's amazing how connected all these habits are.
Yeah.
They all work together to affect our energy, motivation, and well-being.
It's like a web of habits.
Yes.
And if you pull on one thread,
Yeah,
it affects the whole thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So even small changes in one area can make a big difference.
That's encouraging.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about taking small steps in the right direction.
And that's what we're all about here.
Exactly. Progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a web of habits, and if you pull on one thread,
Hmm.
it affects the whole thing.
So even small changes can make a big difference.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
It is.
Okay, we've explored these 10 habits that might be making us feel sluggish,
Uh-huh.
but how do we actually break free?
Okay. Right.
What tools or strategies can we use
Right.
to ditch these habits and unlock a more energetic and focused version of ourselves?
You know, it's funny. We often look for that magic bullet,
Yeah.
that one trick that'll solve everything.
Yeah.
But it's really more about understanding what works for you.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution
Yeah.
or like a personalized approach.
Exactly.
Okay, but where do we even begin?
Well, a good place to start is to think about
Yeah.
the specific challenges you face with each habit.
Okay.
So, for example, with snoozing,
Uh-huh.
is it because you're actually exhausted,
Okay.
or is it because you're dreading the day?
That's a really good point. So identifying the root cause
Yeah,
can help you find a better solution.
exactly.
So if it is exhaustion,
Yeah.
then maybe it's not about the alarm,
Uh-huh.
but about your sleep routine.
Exactly. And there are apps that can help with that.
Really?
Yeah, they analyze your sleep patterns
Oh, wow.
and give you personalized recommendations.
That's cool. Okay, what about social media?
Yeah.
We talked about how addictive it can be.
We did.
Any practical ways to break free?
One thing that works is to make it less accessible,
What do you mean?
like delete the apps from your phone or
Oh,
log out of your accounts.
okay. The thought of deleting those apps makes me a little anxious, but I see your point.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to go cold turkey,
Yeah.
there are apps that can set time limits
Oh.
or block websites during certain hours.
So it's all about creating boundaries.
Exactly, to reclaim your time and attention.
I like that.
Ugh.
Okay, now exercise.
Yeah.
Another tough one for a lot of people. What advice would you give someone who knows they should be exercising
Yeah.
but can't find the motivation?
Don't focus on what you should do.
Okay.
Think about what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
What kind of movement feels good for you?
Yeah.
Like dancing, hiking, swimming,
Yeah.
or even just walking in nature.
Exercise shouldn't feel like a punishment.
Exactly. And start small.
Okay.
Even 10 minutes a day is better than nothing.
That's true.
The source material suggested.
Yeah.
Just putting on your workout clothes
Oh.
and seeing how you feel.
Okay.
Often that's the hardest part.
I like that it's about removing those mental barriers.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about procrastination?
Yeah.
How do we tackle that?
Try the 2-minute rule.
What's that?
If a task takes less than 2 minutes,
Yeah.
do it right away.
Okay. That sounds simple enough.
It is.
But how does that help with procrastination?
It builds momentum
Okay.
by doing those little things immediately.
Uh-huh.
You feel accomplished and less overwhelmed.
It's like a snowball effect.
Exactly. The more you do, the more you want to do.
I like that. Okay, we talked about how food affects our energy.
Right.
Any tips for making healthier choices?
Have healthy options ready to go.
What do you mean?
Like stock your fridge with fruits, vegetables, and good snacks,
Okay.
so you're less likely to reach for junk food.
So set yourself up for success
Exactly.
by creating a healthy environment.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Cooking can be fun,
It can.
and you can find healthy meals you actually enjoy.
That's a great point. Okay, any final thoughts?
Yeah, remember, breaking free from these habits is a journey.
Yeah.
It's not a destination.
Right.
There will be times when you slip up,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
it is.
Just be kind to yourself, learn from it, and keep going.
I love that. It's a reminder that we're all works in progress.
We are.
And every day is a chance to make good choices
Exactly.
that help us live our best lives.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've learned something
I hope so.
and feel empowered to take action.
Me too.
And to our listeners,
Yeah.
if you want more information, check out the show notes
Okay.
for links to everything we talked about today.
Sounds good.
Until next time, stay curious
Yes.
and keep learning.
Yeah. Cooking can be fun, and you can find healthy meals you actually enjoy.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, any final thoughts?
Yeah. Remember, breaking free from these habits is a journey. It's not like you just arrive somewhere.
Right.
It's ongoing.
Yeah.
And, there will be times you slip up
Yeah, for sure.
and go back to old patterns.
It happens.
And that's totally okay.
Yeah,
Just be kind to yourself. Learn from it and keep going.
I love that. It's a reminder that we're all works in progress.
Exactly.
And every day is a new opportunity to make good choices.
Oh, boy.
That help us live our best lives.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fun.
We hope you learned some new things about yourselves.
Yeah.
And feel empowered to make some positive changes.
You too.
And to our listeners,
Yeah.
if you want to learn more about any of the things we talked about today,
Yeah.
just check out the show notes for links and resources.
Sounds good.
Until next time, stay curious
Always.
and keep learning.